Do you know when you file the FAFSA?
Over the summer.
Do you know when the FAFSA needs to be filed for?
I did not.
Ah.
I did it during summer.
During the summer?
Yeah.
Okay, so they changed it this year, and so now you file you can start filing the FAFSA October 1st. So they changed it, it's now October 1st is when it opens. Yeah, it used to be January 1st it could open. So if you're going to be going to college in the fall of 2017, whether it's your semester or quarter starting in like August or September, you're going to want to fill out the FAFSA. So the FAFSA is the application that allows you to get grants and scholarships and student loans from the federal government. Now there's some big changes happening with the FAFSA this year, and so it's important to make sure that you know what to do so that you don't get held up with your financial aid for next year. So whether you're already in school right now or you're just starting school for next fall, it's important to make sure you fill out the FAFSA on time and you get everything squared away. So there's two big changes that are happening this year with FAFSA. The first one, and the most important, is that the time is changing. When you fill out the FAFSA is different this year. Usually you'll fill out the FAFSA in January. It normally opens on January 1st and you have until the end of June to fill it out. But this year they're changing it. It's actually going to open on October 1st. Now that's a big deal because a lot of financial aid is done on a first come, first served basis. And so the earlier you fill out the FAFSA, the more chance you have of getting better financial aid. So since the FAFSA is opening October 1st this year, the earlier you get on it, the better your chances are going to be. Now the other big change that's happening with FAFSA is that the tax year for the information that goes on your FAFSA is changing too. Since they moved the time when you fill out the FAFSA, normally it would be in January and you'd fill it out with that same year's tax information. Let's say you filled it out January of 2016, this most recent year, you would use your 2015 tax returns, which is the ones that you'd file in April of 2016. The problem is that usually people don't file their taxes until the end of April or the middle of April because people like to procrastinate and put off their filing of taxes. And so when they go to fill out the FAFSA, they try to do it early, but none of their tax information is done. And so what happens is people end up making up a bunch of numbers or guessing at what their tax information is. Then once they finally file their taxes, then they go back and change the FAFSA later. And that's just causing a big headache for everyone involved in the process. So what the Department of Education is doing now is having the FAFSA done later in the year. But not only that, is they're using what they're calling the prior year's tax information. So if you filled out the FAFSA for fall of 2016, which would be in the semester that we're in right now, then you used 2015's tax information to do that. Because that was the prior year before the year that you were filling it out. You're filling out in 2016, so you used 2015's tax information. Now because they're moving the filing period to October rather than January, they're going to allow you to also use the prior year's tax information. So this year, because it's changing this year, this is the first year that they're doing this, you're actually going to use the 2015 tax information again. So if you already filled out the FAFSA for 2016, then you're going to be using the same tax information to fill it out for 2017 also. Now there's some good things and bad things associated with using the same tax year twice. Some people who have variable income and during 2015 had a lower income, they might get more need-based financial aid because now they're going to be using the same lower income tax year for both times. And so it's going to look really good. On 2 years in a row, you're going to have low income and you're going to hopefully get more need-based aid. People who have variable income and had a high income for 2015, even if their circumstances have changed, they might have less of a chance for need-based aid because it looked like they had a high income in 2015, but now 2016 and 2017, they might have a lower income. So if your financial situation changed, you can actually petition to have someone review, basically audit your FAFSA information, your tax information, to see if that's still the same case. You should talk to the financial aid office at the university that you're attending to get more details about that. So because they're using the prior year's tax information, you're going to be able to use 2015's on your 2017 school year FAFSA application. So when you fill out the FAFSA for the fall of 2017, you're going to fill it out in October of 2016, and you're going to use your tax information from 2015, probably the taxes that you filed in April of 2016. Really confusing. Here's a chart to explain it. So those are the two big changes that happened with the FAFSA this year. If you want to get grants or scholarships or student loans or any other financial aid from the federal government, you're going to need to fill out the FAFSA in order to do that. So make sure that you do it early because that gives you a better chance of getting financial aid, and make sure that you use the right tax information. There's actually an IRS Retrieval tool that's built into the FAFSA where you don't actually have to go get your tax information or anything like that. You can just use the IRS Retrieval tool if you filed your taxes online with the IRS. Then everything is just linked together through the internet and you can go ahead and use it that way. It makes it a lot faster to be able to file everything, and you can take all of your previous information, especially if you had used the IRS Retrieval tool for last time you did the FAFSA, then your tax information is still going to be there. It'll be the exact same information. It just carries right over. So they make it really easy, make it really streamlined to do. So the Department of Education actually put out a really cool video about how to fill out the FAFSA, and you can check it out here. I'll put a link to it in the description also. Now you can contact them for information about how to fill out the FAFSA, or you can contact the financial aid office at the university that you're attending. Now there are deadlines for filling out the FAFSA too. So usually the federal deadline would be the end of June, but each state sets their own deadline because some states have a lot of applicants and some states maybe not as many, and each university might set its own deadline too. So I live in California. The California deadline to file the FAFSA is actually March 2nd. And so that's really early compared to the end of June, which is the federal deadline. Now, your university, if they get a lot of applicants, they might, or they have a really stressed financial aid office, they might have their deadline way sooner because they want to make sure everyone gets their stuff in and they have a lot of time to be able to process all the applications. So contact the financial aid office at the university that you're going to attend, and they'll be able to help you figure out when the final deadline is. But the most important thing is to try to get it done as early as possible, because the earlier you fill out the FAFSA, the better chances you have at getting a lot of financial aid. So this is the big changes that happened for the FAFSA this year. Feel free to comment in the comment section below if you have questions about what to do, or if you want to see other financial related videos. You can check out our channel, youtube.com/Arbogast Advisers, or you can check out our blog at arbogastadvisers.com. Thanks for watching.
It's a story about international finance,
it's keeping a lot of people from actually
hopefully you can take
getting
a good lesson
financial
away from
help
it.
that they need because they're too afraid
The
to
story was
actually get
inspired
started
by
and go contact
Sir
someone
Isaac
to say,
Newton,
hey, I need to
and he had
sit
a
down and
quote.
talk